someone who has coached so many other people to the success in their business. I call her when my mind needs to be in the right place. So I want y'all to really and truly take out all the noise tonight. If you've never really focused on a training call, I really want you to pay attention. You gotta go get some headphones and do what you gotta do. Because if I have the opportunity to learn from a woman like LaQuelle, I'm tapping all in, especially if I ain't make 7 figures yet. So thank you so much, Coach LQ. I truly I already got tears in my eyes because I really want to know, man, like you're such an amazing person and your hunger for this business is contagious. So I want to say thank you for all you had to go through in the last 8 years, is it? 8 years in total life changes. Thank you for not quitting on yourself. Thank you for growing and becoming more. And I want you to know tonight, while there's 41 of us on here, and I'm not sure how many on your platform, you're going to change someone's life because you didn't quit, and now we're here to hear your story. So without further ado, I'm going on mute. Anybody, Eleni or LaQuelle, close the call out. I give my whole organization to you. I trust you like I trust myself. So I appreciate you. Y'all throw some yellow hearts in the chat for Coach LQ. What's up, everybody? What's up? And I want to say thank you, Sheila, for trusting me on this platform. You know, me and you go back. We started our connection through Girl Hold My Hand. You know, I was already in TLC, of course, when you joined, but we really bonded through Girl Hold My Hand because we both needed to learn how to know ourselves, love ourselves, and embrace ourselves so that we can do the amazing things that we've been able to do in this company. So y'all put some fire in the chat for Sheila. You know, her passion, her energy is always contagious for me. And so, you know, I got a few things I want to say before I really get into the training. And when I saw that it was the power of belief, this is actually a training that I just came up with. I'm going to tell y'all right, I just came up with it 10 minutes ago, maybe 15. And I already know this is going to be one of the best trainings that I've ever done in my life because I'm in the best space right now than I've ever been in my life. So I know some of y'all, you know, I've been in this business 8 years. So some of y'all don't really, you know, when y'all came in, y'all already saw the 7 figures. Y'all already saw the global director. Y'all already saw the rich girl. But what I want to show you is the person that joined this company. Because see, this is the person that joined TLC. This is the person, not this one, this one. This is the person that started her business. This is the person that was working at Macy's. This is the person that didn't believe in herself. This is the person that felt stuck. This was me when I first got started. And if you ever, you know, if you ever hear Coach Stormy do any interviews or, you know, and talk about network marketing, she always says when people ask her, what's the hardest thing? And guess what the hardest thing is? For people to believe. See, everybody that joined, including me, we joined based on us believing in the person. When my amazing coach, Natalie, called me 8 years ago, I believed in her. I didn't believe in me. I didn't even know what TLC was. I'd never heard of it, never touched a product, nothing. All I knew was Natalie, and I believed in her. And so when I got started 8 years ago, I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew was that my life was not the way that I wanted it to be. And somebody that I respected gave me the opportunity. And so I just joined. I literally just joined. I didn't know what it was. I'd never heard of it. So, you know, I know a lot of you guys maybe saw it on social media or you were following someone already and you locked arms with them. That wasn't my story. I knew nothing. I just knew Natalie and I said yes. That was it. I got NutriBurst. They came to my house. I started my journey. And so I have an acronym for belief. So I want you to write on your paper, BELIEF, because I'm going to break this thing down for you. Because in order for me to be a part of this business for 8 years, I started in 2015. In 2019, now I started in 2015. In 2019, I got this trophy in Dallas, Texas. You see that? Lifetime earnings, $10,000 in 4 years. Four. Not one, not 6 months, 4 years. I made $10,000 in my back office. I never quit. People always ask me, well, how did you stay going so long and you didn't have any success? What was my alternative? If I started this business because I wasn't happy with my life, if I stopped the business, am I all of a sudden going to be happy with my life? I'm already over 30. I'm not happy. So if I'm doing something that could possibly point me in the direction of happiness, why would I turn away from it because it didn't happen right away? I went to college for 4 years. I didn't get my degree till the end. And I owe them money. At least this is an opportunity that can pay me some money instead of me having to pay student loans. So, in lieu of time, I want to go ahead and get right into it. So, the power of belief. The biggest belief that you need, whether you realize it or not, is belief in yourself. Because you can believe that when you drink watermelon tea, you're going to go to the bathroom. You can believe that NutriBurst is great. You can believe that when you take NRG, you're going to get energy and mental clarity and focus. You can believe in an amazing leader like Sheila. But do you believe in yourself? Because you're the one that has to have the success. You're the one that has to take care of your family. You're the one that your kids are watching. You're the one that your family is looking at to see, are you going to do this thing for real? Or are you going to quit like you quit everything else? Or are you going to go when rubber hits the road, when it gets hard, when you run into that first challenge? See, you're the one. It didn't matter how much I believed in Natalie because Natalie couldn't succeed in the business for me. It didn't matter when I was able to meet Coach Stormy how much she believed in me because that wasn't going to make me successful. You know who was? LaQuelle. So the B is brave. When you embark on a journey that can change your life, you got to be brave. You got to understand it's not going to be easy. It's not always going to be peaches and cream. It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. You got to be brave. And when I talk about being brave, I want each of you to think about one thing in your life, and it can be before TLC, that you had to overcome, whether it's something people know or something people don't know. Because if you were able to overcome whatever that thing was, I don't care if it was abuse, domestic violence, drug addiction, abortion, whatever, molestation, abandonment, whatever it was, cancer, health issues, think about something the death of a loved one, think about something you overcame in your life. And you're still here today because you're on this Zoom. You had to be brave. At the time, you might not have known how you were going to do it, but you were brave and you overcame. So when you're on this journey to really believe more, to believe bigger, to believe faster, you got to be brave. You got to put on your big girl panties. You got to put on your big boy boxers, and you got to be brave. Y'all know what bravery is. So we're going to move on. I got to look at my notes. I'm pretty excited. The E is evaluate. Now that you're doing this, you need to evaluate yourself. What are your belief blockers? What are the things that have prevented you from believing in yourself? Was it something somebody said to you? Was it how you were raised? Was it the examples in your life around you of maybe no one ever doing anything great? What are your belief blockers? What are the limits that you've created? Because we should all know the only limits in life are the ones that we create. Some of us are living in a box of limitations that we put ourselves in, and we feel stuck, but we're the ones that caused it. So what are your belief blockers? What are your limiting thoughts? There were things that I used to tell myself at the beginning. Nobody's going to buy products from you. You're still fat. Nobody's going to believe this business works for you. You said you work at Macy's. You work in a department store. People already look at you like you're a nobody. They talk to you crazy because they're in there spending their money and you're the worker bee. Those were things I told myself. Nobody told me that. I told myself that, and therefore it limited me. It made me not want to talk to people because of the things that I told me, the story I was telling myself. So in order for you to build your belief, you have to really evaluate you. That's one of the hardest things to do. It's hard to look in the mirror and say, I'm the problem. I'm the reason I'm not further. I can say it's this. I can say I don't have time. I can say it's my kids. I can say my husband don't believe in me. My family doesn't support me. I live in a small town. It can be all of those things that we tell ourselves. But those are still limiting beliefs. Those are things that we create to make us feel better that we're not doing better. Some of us never get past that stage because it's a lot easier to point the finger than to look in the mirror and say, I'm the problem. But when I realized that I was the problem and I was also the solution, that changed everything for me. Because all of the limits I created, I also had the power to eliminate. All of the things that were all of my belief blockers, I had the power to remove them. It was all on me. Everything started with me. My belief starts with me. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks is about what I think and what I say. So when you're being brave, you got to evaluate all of those things that could be holding you back. That stinking thinking. The L is to love you. Now that you've held yourself accountable to the things that are holding you back, now it's time to right those wrongs. Now it's time to unlearn those learned behaviors by loving you. For anybody that's followed me, I don't care if y'all follow me 3 days, 3 months, 3 years. Personal development is something I speak about very much. Why? Because if I didn't change how I thought, I could never change my life. I don't know what just happened, but I'm going to keep going. I had to change how I thought about myself. I had to love on me differently. And so when you do that evaluation, that's when you decide, okay, procrastination is an issue for me. I'm not consistent. I'm not disciplined. Whatever the things are that you discover or you really accept are your belief blockers and your limiting beliefs. Now you have to find resources to help you reset your mind. Things that you have to decide, okay, this is no longer going to hinder me anymore. This isn't going to hold me back anymore. I got to love on me differently because when I change the story that I tell myself, what anybody else may say or think is not going to matter anymore. Because I love me. So I don't care if somebody doesn't believe in me or they doubt me or they don't want to listen to me or they don't want to do this or that. It's not going to matter. See, some of y'all don't put yourselves out there because you don't want to be judged. But the reason you don't want to be judged is because everything you think somebody's saying about you is what you're saying about yourself. Everything that you believe someone is going to say when they see that picture of you with your stomach hanging out, or your skin not looking perfect, or your hair not looking perfect, or your outfit not looking a certain way, is because it's what you believe about yourself. Not only that, it's because you're looking at somebody else and saying, if I don't look like that, it's not going to work for me. If I don't talk like that, if I don't show up this way. See, when you compare yourself to other people, you never think you're going to be enough. But guess what? If God wanted you to be that person, that's who he would have made you. So we have to stop telling God he made a mistake when we compare ourselves to somebody else, because that's what you're doing, whether you realize it or not. When you think you're not good enough because of someone else, it's like you're telling God, you made a mistake when you made me. You didn't make me like this person. I'm supposed to look and be like that. I'm speaking on a platform right now. The same person who's had this same voice since she was 10 years old. Back in the day when there was no online, when you had to call to order pizza, when you was in high school and meeting boys on the phone and boys don't want to talk to you because you sound like a man. What if I let that quiet my voice? The very thing God has used to elevate me throughout my life. What if I let that stifle me? I had to learn to change the story that I told myself. I had to love me more and say, no, LaQuelle, your voice is what makes you great. Your voice is what makes you unique. Don't be afraid to speak because somebody called you sir. or Mr. Johnson on the phone, or said, "Ooh, no, I don't want to talk to her. She sounds like a dude. I don't play them games." What if I let those things stop me when I was young? I wouldn't even be before you guys right now. I had to learn how to love myself more. I had to learn how to address the things that were holding me back. I had to face those hard truths. That's real self-love. And listen, 8 years, baby, I had to do it a few different times. I had to pull myself up a few different times. I had to pull myself up this year in 2023 after making over $2 million in this business. I had to pull myself up again. Everything I'm telling y'all is what I know. That's how I could come up with this training in 10 minutes, because it's my life. It's not a book. It's not a recording. It's my life. It's how I live every single day. I was talking to Natalie's dad yesterday. He said, "I just want to check on you because we can, I can't never see when you got stuff going on because you always show up. You always put on a brave face. I don't know how to do anything else. I don't fold, I fight. That's who I am. I've overcome a lot of things people know about and don't know about. I don't fold, I fight, because I learned and I continue to learn how to love myself more." So the L is love. The I is intentional. You are the CEO of your life before you're the CEO of your TLC business. You are the boss of you. Everything that you do has to be intentional if you want to win in anything. This is the time that you got to say, okay, what goals do I need to set? I know I said on the live and dropped fire in the chat that I'm going to be the next top earner, but what do I need to do to really be that? What are the goals that I need to set for myself every day? Because that's how I'm going to get there. Any goal that I want to achieve physically, financially, mentally, it's going to take every day. It's a daily choice. And so I have to make sure that I'm intentional about everything that I do. I don't have time to play around. Nobody on here are children. We are all adults. And we all made a decision to do this for some reason or another to better our lives. We don't have no more time to waste. I turned 44 this year. I started this business when I was 35. We ain't got time to waste, y'all. We have no more time to waste. So you have to be intentional. Set the goals. The next thing you got to do when you set those goals is you got to create a non-negotiable schedule. How much time are you going to dedicate to what you want with no excuses? Okay, yeah, maybe you in school. Maybe you got a full-time job. Maybe you just had a baby. Maybe you just went through a divorce. Maybe your husband doesn't help you, so you got to do everything. Be realistic with what your life looks like now. What is the non-negotiable schedule that I have set for myself that rain, snow, or shine, no matter what happens, I'm going to do it. Whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I tell everybody, work this business like a job. What does that mean? You may not be able to give this business the same amount of time that you give a job, but you can give it the same energy, because you show up to work if you don't feel like it, if you don't like your boss, if you're underpaid and not appreciated, you still show up. If you don't like your coworkers, you still show up. Even if you don't believe in what the company is doing, you still show up. So you have to work this business like it's your job. How much energy are you going to give your business every single day? You got to be intentional. This is not the season of throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. We're in the last half, not even more than the last half. We're basically in the fourth quarter of the year. And guess what? That's when the champions are made. You can take this right now and make a decision, and these next 4 months can be the best 4 months of your entire 2023 if you believe it and if you decide. But you got to be intentional. The E is execute. You got to take action. Don't take a bunch of notes. Don't write out a schedule. Don't make a to-do list. Don't do all of these things and not make any moves. Whenever I see people on the lives and whenever I see people on the trainings, listen, I've been doing this 8 years. There's people that I saw, and if I'm talking about you, I'm not trying to be offensive, but a hit dog will holler. And I'm guilty of it too at times. You can show up to every live, every training, every Zoom. You can drop fire in the chat. You can be super excited. But if you don't apply the things that you learn, if you don't make those notes go from paper to your life and execute, it means nothing. It means nothing. It's just a bunch of information with no application. So when you believe, you execute, you take action. And if you fall down, you get back up and you do it again and you try again. Because can I tell you, failure is a part of the success formula? See, all of us are so afraid to fail. We got a fear of failure. Well, guess what? Failure is a part of the success formula. So if you want the success, you got to want the failure. You got to want the rejection. You got to want those things if you want to succeed. And anybody that you know, the most successful person you can think of in your mind right now in this business or in life, they failed before. We just don't see the failure. A lot of the failures that people had was before things were public knowledge, before there was social media, before there was, paparazzi and all of these things. Everybody has failed that's successful. So if you want the success, you got to want the failure. You got to be willing to execute no matter what. And the F, you got to stay focused. Y'all have heard it before. Follow one course until successful. You got to stay focused. Don't let the reason you started be the reason you stop. Don't start this business because you ain't got no money. And then you say because you ain't got no money, you can't buy no products. You can't have a 120 smart ship. You can't do this and you can't do that. But you joined because you wanted more money. You joined for the lack of money. Don't let the lack of money be the reason why you stop or slow up. You got to focus. You got to make a decision. Every time your smart ship runs, you have 30 days to generate income. What are you going to do with the time? What are you going to do with the time? That's all on you. And guess what? Anything great you got to fight for. There's going to be distractions. Life is going to life, as we say. But guess what? That's a part of the process. There's going to be things that happen that you expect, and there's going to be things that happen that you don't expect. And that's why personal development is so important, because you got to keep your mindset as a champion. So when those blows come, you can take that licking and keep on ticking. If you're somebody that starts and stops and starts and stops, which I used to be, it's because you allow your focus to get knocked off. Excuse me, you let outside things take your focus away. We got to focus in this season for whatever we say we want. And so in that focus, the last thing I'm going to talk about is you have to really look at your life and say, what is it that I need to sacrifice in this moment for me to focus? I'm on my transformation journey again. But you know what's different this time? My focus. Everybody keeps saying, keep going, LQ, keep going. I know why everybody says that, because in the past I didn't keep going. But guess what? I had to rebuild my belief in myself in 2023. So I'm telling y'all what I'm doing. My focus is there. It's not going away. It's not stopping. Today was really hard for me to work out. And my workouts aren't easy. Shout out to my amazing trainer. It was hard today. I had to push today. But see, when the motivation stops, that's where the discipline kicks in. When the inspiration stops, that's where the discipline kicks in. That's where the focus kicks in. When you make that decision that no matter what's going on around me or inside of me, I'm going to show up for what I want, I got to stay focused. I'm going to transition to do some Q&A, but before I do that, everybody that's a parent, I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you're a parent. If you're a parent, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. Okay. Okay. Everybody that's putting a 1 in the chat, I want you to think about this. If your children live life the way that you live life, and thought the way that you thought, right now, would you be proud of them? If your children live life the way that you lived and thought the way that you thought, would you be proud of them? And congratulations to everybody that said yes, because that means you're on track. But if you said no, you got to make some changes because you're being the example that your kids are watching. If you're operating in fear, if you're operating in doubt, if you're operating in self-sabotage, whatever things that you're letting hold you back, you're exhibiting that in front of your children. Be the example that they need to see. Because see, before I joined TLC, my mom was the example I needed. She was the person I knew that was successful before I met Coach Stormy. It was my mother. I watched my mom create the life she desired. It's not a coincidence that I was able to do the same thing. Because she was the example that I needed to see, and I didn't even realize it until I grew up, until I was an adult. But because I always saw my mom fight, I never stopped fighting for what I wanted. And I'm still not stopping for what I want. And I'm human. I fall. I may get discouraged, but I go back to that foundation of my belief. I didn't come this far just to come this far. And I don't care if you joined 6 months ago or a year ago. You didn't come this far just to come this far. You came in here with a mission and a vision for your life. And you don't want to leave out of here until you get it. Every day that you wake up, you have a new opportunity to execute at a high level. You have a new opportunity to walk in your purpose. You have a new opportunity to hit the reset button if you need to. And listen, belief is not something that's easy all the time. It's not easy to always believe. But if you keep a hold of what I share with you, if you keep a hold of the things that you're taught through your coaches and mentors, you can do this. We all come from different backgrounds. I worked at Macy's. Tammy was a single mother that was homeless. Sheila was overweight and worked in corporate America. Gareen was making 6 figures in corporate America and her health was challenged and she had to make a decision. Coach Stormy is a high school dropout. We all have different lives. Natalie graduated from Howard. She was always an entrepreneur. But she wasn't living the life that she wanted either. We all came from different backgrounds, different things, but we all had one thing in common is we wanted to win. And everyone that's on this Zoom, I know you're on here because you want to win too. And so I challenge you in this last portion of the year to really check where your belief is right now. And if it's not where it needs to be, and it's going to be a reflection of how you look, what your bank account looks like, and everything, that's going to help you really see where your belief really is. And so that's all I have as far as the belief training goes. If anybody has, because it's still a little early, if anybody has any questions, I think, Elena, you can help me out. If anyone has questions, you can raise your Zoom hand and you can ask me questions. Let me sip on my tea. Eleni, did you have a question or were you just demonstrating? I don't know.
Both.
Okay.
I do have a question though. First, I want to say thank you so much, Coach, for listening to you today. It hit different, especially because of the new space that I'm in, making this big move. And really, I say I'm starting my TLC business over because I'm in a different country, so it's a new market. So